Hi, and welcome to ICX Sales Academy. I'm super excited to share even more awesome sales tips with you to make sure that we are fully equipped as ICX Commission to rock this summer peak sales. Today here with you is me, your MCVP ICX, and here are the topics we will cover in this short webinar. First of them is sales funnel, then we'll move into generation of leads. The third topic is prospecting or approaching our leads, and the fourth one is critical sales skills, including active listening. But just to warm up, I have prepared a little exercise, and people who came to the office today had a chance to participate, which was a spontaneous pitching of one very ridiculous product. And here further you will see the video of Daddy trying to pitch hairy leggings. Yes, exactly. Just see how he made it happen.
So, are you perhaps a very active sports person, a gym rat, or an adrenaline junkie? Are you perhaps wearing leggings to go to the gym and you feel super comfortable with them? Usually, for male sportsmen, they have to shave their legs, and sometimes, because they get injured, need to have surgeries, which means they don't have to have hair in their legs. However, since we live in a very judgmental society, sometimes men with no hair in their legs are maybe not seen in a very positive way. So what I propose to you is our very special service of hairy leggings. With our hairy leggings, you will look manlier than ever, and at the same time you will be super comfortable while doing exercise. Hairy leggings. For more information, check our website, hairyleggings.com.
And here are a few examples for you to try it out at home with your friends whenever you feel like before making calls happen, you want to just get into the mood. You can try to pitch something like garlic toothpaste or zero value gift cards or 5-wheel car to the people around to make sure that you are fully relaxed, open-minded, and you can make every call happen. Let's move on to the topic number 1, which is sales funnel. And I will start right away with definition of what it is, how it functions, and why do we need to be aware of this. Basically, sales funnel is a buying process that companies lead customers through when purchasing products, and it sounds super similar to the customer flow we have if you think so. But this one is specifically focused on sales. So everything that happens since the moment of company finding out about us till pretty much the moment of us signing a contract together. I found out this picture, which you can see on the right side, and to be honest, if you go online and you start Googling, you will find lots of definitions of the sales funnel with different structural elements, but this one seemed the most logical to me, so I used this one, but don't be surprised if you see any other option. It starts with awareness phase, where a company or startup or farm or school or any other stakeholder finds out about us and our products, and on this stage they are either prospects or leads. What differs leads from prospects is that leads are already more or less aware of what we do and show some signs of interest in taking part in our projects. But once again, if you Google, you can find those two sidewise, so like leads are prospects and so on, but don't pay attention to this, but just follow the logic. On the next stage, which is consideration, we already pitch something to our prospects and leads. It can be either a phone call or a meeting or just a short conversation at the event. And afterwards, they move to the stage of being qualified. So those are the ones who are actually suitable for our product. So they have need for them, they have necessary capabilities to take part, and they are pretty much qualified for us. Afterwards, the next stage is of proposal being sent, when we move up into negotiation of agreeing on certain like circumstances and certain aspects of the deal, like setting up deadlines and so on. And the last stage is closing of the deal, so when we have the contract signed. How it can be useful for you, so how you can apply it to your day-to-day sales process. Here you can see a very useful website which is called Trello.com, and this is basically a tool to organize your work or to organize the daily to-dos you have, but also you can organize your sales funnel in here. Why is it convenient? It helps you to distribute your prospects or the contacts you have in your database let's say you have like 50 of them, into the ones that have certain categories, like just an overall pool, or the ones to whom you already sent information and you're waiting for the answer, the ones where meeting is scheduled already, and the ones that already signed the contract with you. So it can help you to just to qualify your leads properly and to understand with whom at which stage you are right now, and where you should push more for the conversion and where you should speed up the process. After that, let's move on right away to the topic number 2, which is generation of leads. And this one covers 7 simple ways in which you can generate leads if you don't have marketing support. As you know, we are just starting to put some content online for our Empower Austria project, but overall, most of our sales happen on ground, so through local committees, actively calling and going into meetings with potential partners. And here are the steps you usually apply to find those contacts, right? So the first one is quite basic: use social media to find prospects you can help. And this means that basically you go and research startups in Vienna, startups in Linz, or farms in Austria. And in that way you create the list of companies and startups and farms that seem potentially suitable for you. Step number 2 is you can post a blog or article on LinkedIn, but please don't do it yourself. Consult with me if you want to make it happen, and offer a 15-minute consultancy space, which is also nice as people can join and find out more about your project. Work with your personal network. This one is especially valuable for us since we run the Empower Austria project and our IGV projects already for a couple of peaks, and we already have our professional network, which can help us to promote the project also through step number 4, get referrals from current customers, just spreading a word about what we are doing, and especially with people who might be potentially interested. The next thing you can do is attending networking events. There are lots of them happening, not only in Vienna, but also in Graz and Linz, and you can attend them and pitch Empower Austria to other people there who are potentially can be our prospects or leads. Also, what you can do is revisit closed or lost opportunities. I know that LCV was doing it for sure so far. Just creating a short personalized email and writing it to startups who might have said no in the past or who told you they are completely not interested. The situation in their company might have changed, and it's up to you to find out if they are ready to collaborate. Step number 7 is implementing an email sequence, especially with you approaching multiple stakeholders, startups, companies, it doesn't matter. You can simplify your life by pre-designing a couple of emails and setting them up together with MailChimp as a tool, for example, where you can send them out each 2, 3, 5 days to follow up and to automate this process. But also you can just send them out by yourself and it also works. Moving on smoothly to topic number 3, which is prospecting. So what are we doing after we already have pre-research database of the startups and companies we want to contact? We start to approach them and we start to offer our project to them. The first step in this case, based on the band approach we have been talking about at NatCore and the video you might have watched on YouTube, the first ideal step would be sending out a personalized email to a person you want to approach from the company, asking to have a 10-minute call. What should happen in this email, and you would be also able to find a sample email in our ICX Pioneers folder in Knowledge Database, you should find out some information about startup or company. Let's say they got funding, or based on the web page they are looking for interns or for new employees, or they have launched a new product. And based on this information you can write a personalized email saying, "Hi, I've seen this and this about your company," or even if there is nothing specific, you can just mention that we have been in touch before, or I was just searching the web and I came across your website, and I actually think that our project Empower Austria, and here you can even insert the link to our webpage, might be of a very good fit for you. Would you mind having a 10-minute call so I can introduce myself and introduce the project to you? And by writing this email, you already give yourself a safe space to make the next step, which is calling a startup company, happen. What should happen here? After startup or company replies and tells you, yeah, okay, let's have this call. By the way, in this email, you should mention specifically the day and time you want to make it happen. But even if they don't reply to you, you can just call and say, hey, I wrote you that email. Did you have a chance to check it out? And even if they say no, you can right away say, okay, I wrote you this and this. Would you be up for having a short call conversation right now? Or I can call you back later on today. During this call, you do not present your product fully yet, but you are asking band questions. And you can check out band video on YouTube and everything will be clear based on that, so I will not focus a lot of my attention on this right now. But basically the concept is that you're asking questions to find out more information about the company and to understand if your product can be of a good fit for them, and only afterwards you can explain what we are doing and what you want to offer. And the purpose of this call is to, of course, schedule a meeting, and during this meeting you already show the proposal, so you are putting all the cards on the table. Just as a short reminder, BUN stands for Budget, Authority, Need, and Timeline, and those are the 4 categories of questions you might want to have answers for. And here they are. I will just click through them. You can check them out in also Notco output, watch the video, and if you have any kind of questions, you can approach me as well. Cool. And we are logically moving on to the almost last stage of this workshop, which is 15 sales prospecting tips to help you acquire customers. Those are quite a general things which can help you a lot and which are simple to implement. The first one of those is confidence is heard. The really important thing you should remember that you should be sounding confident. Your voice cannot tremble, or even if you are forgetting something, don't pay a lot of attention to this, just improvise. Of course, make sure that you are not giving false information, but just don't freak out if something is not going so well, because mistakes happen, and this is a tip number 2. In case you are asked something you do not know, just say, I can check it out and get back to you, or I would rather check it with my colleague to give you precise information, which will sound super nice and actually make people think that you do care, and just don't feel afraid to say so. Step number 3 is know when it's not a good fit. So based on the bond questions you are asking, if you clearly understand that the product is not match for the company or startup, there is a certain time when you need to back off, and you should understand where the line lies. Step number 4 is don't be salesperson, and for those of you who watched Wolf from the Wall Street, this is the precise, very good example of a salesperson. Those things do not work nowadays. You cannot longer push stuff on people if they don't feel need or desire to have it. That is why don't be usual salesperson, but try to show your personality. Ask questions. Here again, bond technique comes in. You should ask a lot of questions, sales coaching questions, to understand if startup or company has need for your product, time, availability, and so on and so forth. Step 6, or tip number 6, don't give up at the first objection, and this goes well with also knowing when you need to back off. At the same time, don't overuse it, and sometimes while asking those questions, startups will tell you anyways that no, we don't need an intern right now, or we don't have a job for him to do, but hey, we can help you to figure out because we have pre-designed job descriptions, let's say. So you need to know how to handle objections, and you also should understand that sometimes the stakeholders do not have understanding yet that they might need your product and that can be useful for them actually. So by asking more and more questions and showing more of what we do, you can help them to believe in that and eventually become your customers. Tip number 7, stay positive. I've heard a lot of you guys doing calls, and sometimes when you hear first no, your voice sounds different. You start freaking out and being disappointed, which is super logical and human reaction. But you should also understand that by doing so, you minimize your chances. And anytime you hear not a positive answer, still stay positive and keep with a smiley voice intonation pursuing your call, because eventually it may pay off. And like if you sound positive, the person on the other side might also start sounding positive as well. Step number 8, use social media for your advantage. Before going into contact with company representative, you can actually scroll and pretty much go through their LinkedIn profile, their Facebook profile, find out what do those people do, what are their interests, which events they go to, and like literally you can even find out which event they're planning to go next week and go there and try to talk to them there. Don't look creepy, but just find out information that can be useful for you and something personalized which you can use to connect with those people easy. Tip number 9, do your research. This is connected a lot to the previous one, but also do research on the company, and the better you understand what they do and where there can be potential company product fit, the easier it will be for you to shape your pitch and to choose specific points of value proposition which you might want to use. Tip number 10, stay organized. I know for sure that a lot of contacts, leads, or prospects are getting lost in the sales process because you might not keep proper track of whom you need to still call, whom you need to write an email, with whom and when you need to follow up. And to avoid this, you really need to keep your notes in the proper way. You need to understand who are the people you need to contact today and tomorrow and day after. And by doing so, you will save yourself a lot of work and good leads. And if you are at this point of the presentation, in the right down corner, you can see my WhatsApp number, and you can send me your favorite emojis so I know that you are watching this video. And we are moving on to step number 18, or tip number 18, which is be efficient and effective with messaging. This one is about you also using your time and follow-up spaces wisely. Don't over-text, don't under-text, just write exactly normal amount of messages. If you don't know what is normal, you can approach your team leader or LCVP or me to find out. And step number 12 is know your product. This is the basis. We talked about it with you as well during conferences and before. Know every little aspect of your product, so at any given point you can answer the questions and you can know which value proposition point to use. Tip number 13, be a person. This one is about you exploring your sales approach, you trying to be individual and you sounding like a real human, because this is something that will help other person on that side also to understand that they are talking not to a salesperson, as we mentioned before, but to a person who is really interested into making win-win situation happen. Build relationships. Send congratulations with Christmas or Easter little postcards to your partners or prospects or leads. Remind them about yourself, like their things on social media, engage with them in different ways possible, which are possible nowadays, to show that you are trying to build up connections. And last tip number 15, challenge yourself and use those sales prospecting tips. Don't only stick to one agenda or to one thing you are saying or doing, because by trying out different things you might actually explore what works for you best or what works best with certain type of prospects. Cool. Those are all 15 of them. Just to sum it up, make sure you try to use them, make sure you try to follow those tips, and let's see what happens, because they are actually designed to help you make your sales happen. 5 crucial sales skills. Those are the ones that are kind of summing up the ones that have been there before. The first one is buyer-seller relationship, and you can look in the sequence of names on the right side. What does it mean is that the first thing you are selling is not even your product or a company, but a salesperson, so it means you. What is important to understand that if prospect or lead likes you, if they like your tone of voice, the way you are explaining things, the way you sound, the way you look, if it comes to a meeting, you will have the first 50 good percent of the sale done. The second thing you sell is a company, then product, then price, and lastly time to buy comes in, as it's also crucial to approach people in the right time, or if it's not the right time, to see how you can postpone it. Sales call planning. Again, we are talking about bond and about writing emails in advance. Crucial skill number 3 is questioning skills. Again, coming back to bond and knowing how to ask those right questions. Presentation skills as well. You should really prepare your pitch and make sure that you highlight right sides of the product, and you shape them based on the information you have collected from asking those questions. And the last one, but not the least important, is gaining commitment, because sometimes it happens that, yeah, we're doing everything correctly, the process goes really, really well, you ask all the right questions, but somehow it just slips away. For that, you need to make sure that you set clear deadlines and you follow up persistently and constantly on the deadlines you have set, to make sure that you are moving towards final decision and signing of the contract. Lastly, the thing I wanted to cover with you is active listening. It's one of the most crucial soft skills in sales, as it allows you to actually, while asking those right questions, to know how to interpret the data and how to use this information to sell your product. And I have prepared a little video for you which explains active listening perfectly. I think it's the best example, and people who have watched The Big Bang Theory will like it and understand it as well.
First, there was PlayStation, aka PS1. Then there's PS2, PS3, and now PS4. And that makes sense. You'd think after Xbox, there'd be Xbox 2. But no. Next came Xbox 360. And now, after 360, comes Xbox One. Why one? Maybe that's how many seconds of thought they put into naming it.
Can you get the butter, please?
However, with the Xbox One, I can control my entire entertainment system using voice commands. Up until now, I've had to use Leonard.
Then get the other one. Pass the butter.
Hang on. I don't feel like you're taking this dilemma seriously.
Fine, Sheldon. You have my undivided attention.
Okay, now, the PS4 is more angular and sleek looking.
No way!
It's true. But the larger size of the Xbox One may keep it from overheating.
You wouldn't want your gaming system to overheat?
No, see, well, you absolutely would not. And furthermore, the Xbox One now comes with a Kinect included.
Included?
Yes. Not sold separately. Although the PS4 uses cool new GDDR5 RAM, while the Xbox One is still using the conventional DDR3 memory.
Why would they still be using DDR3? Are they nuts?
See, that's what I thought. But then they go and throw in an ES RAM buffer.
Oh, wait a second. Who's they?
The Xbox.
You're kidding!
No, I am not. And this ES RAM buffer should totally bridge the 100 gigabit per second bandwidth gap between the two RAM types.
This is a nightmare. How will you ever make a decision?
See, I don't know. What should I do?
Please pass the butter!
Cool. I hope you liked it. I think this video is hilarious and it explains the point of active listening perfectly. So, yeah, let's learn how to be an active listener and avoid not even work-related, but different weird family, relationship, friends, and society drama. But first, I want to show you 3 dumb ways how not to be an active listener and ruin a conversation. The first one is judgment. Don't ever tell people you did it wrong or you shouldn't have done that. The second thing is giving unwanted advice. If someone tells you about something and you start saying stuff like, yeah, but I think you should do this and this and this, and actually this should be done better. Well, yeah, if you were not asked to give this advice or feedback, it can actually hurt the conversation, not as you might have intended to. And the third thing is interrupting. This is also shows that you are not really involved in the conversation, so try to avoid this as well. And yeah, it comes across as rude, so let's learn how not to be that person and be an actual active listener. The first step is super simple: listen twice as much as you speak. And really try to monitor this. It actually helps, because if you are asking questions and you want to hear something back, you are using twice as much speech as the person who is speaking. Listen with your whole body. There are a lot of ways to show that you are engaged in the conversation, like for example your shoulders might be wide open, or you don't cross your arms on your chest, or your knees and your feet are turned towards the person who is talking to you. Also remember about keeping the right distance from the person, which is one arm, and also the way your facial expressions are working, or the way you are keeping the eye contact, can show if you are really actively listening. The third thing is be alert and interested in other person. The things as or yeah, I get you, or asking little questions in the flow of the conversation show that you are being an active listener and you are interested in what is happening. And tip number 4, avoid interrupting. This is the one that can kill your conversation sometimes. Good. As you see, those things are super simple and they are really, really applicable to sales. If you are being active listener with your partners, it will show them that he or she is really interested in what my startup is doing, in how we are doing right now in terms of business, or what are our challenges and problems, and maybe they would be good people to help us out with this. So apply those tips. I also have a little task for you tomorrow. Or today if you're watching this video now, try to practice the active listening skill. Have a conversation with your friend or person at university, or person in the U-Bahn, it doesn't matter, applying active listening skills. So try to be really engaged, invested in the conversation, and you will notice the difference. You will see how are people much more likely to tell you more. That was it for the workshop number 1. Tomorrow I'm waiting for you in the MC office at 6 p.m. for workshop number 2, Product Masters. We will get to know more specifics about the products we are selling and how to sell them properly using right value propositions. Thank you all guys for watching, and also don't forget to fill in the form, the test form, to understand that you have learned something from this workshop, and you will be using this information in the future. Thanks, and see you tomorrow.